Welcome to session 2. So, early embryonic stage it is yolk sac, later it is spleen and liver, and in the adult it is the red bone marrow. The RBCs are arranged in a manner set to be the Rowlex method. Look at here the diagram I am drawing. This is the method of the arrangement of the RBCs, which is named to be the Rowlex method, R-O-U-L-E-X, Rowlex method, the method of the RBC arrangement. RBCs have a lifespan of 120 days, and the RBC are, we have discussed one point that in the case of the chordates to non-chordates, the RBCs in the case of the vertebrates or chordates have the hemoglobin, respiratory pigment present in the blood cells, that is in the RBC in the case of the chordates or else vertebrates, whereas the same it is in the dissolved in blood plasma. This is the main reason why. However, the RBCs are absent, the blood is red in color in the case of the earthworm. The RBCs are biconcave. Let's have the detail of this. When compared with the circle, look at here, this is a circle and this is a biconcave nature. Do you find the large surface area here? Definitely. When compared with the size of this, even if increased, when it is made biconcave, it's a large surface area. So the enucleate and biconcave nature what increase the surface area of RBC for oxygen. That's the reason why it is a biconcave. So biconcave and enucleated is an adaptation. Next, increasing in the number of the RBCs is named to be the erythrocythemia. Cythemia or polycythemia, increasing in the number, whereas decreasing in the number is named to be the erythrocytopenia, or else it is also named to be the anemia. Anemia means the reduced RBCs. When RBCs are reduced, immediately the kidney is stimulated. The kidney produces erythropoietin hormone. Remind you, for suppose if anemic condition is happen to be takes place, it is our body itself repair this. That is, the kidney is stimulated and produces the erythropoietin. Erythropoietin stimulates the erythropoiesis. This is how our body have own system. Next, the production of RBCs is erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis is the maturation of RBC, and erythropoiesis is done by means of the vitamin B12, folic acid and vitamin B12 are what essential for what is called the maturation of RBC or RBC production. Remind you one thing we discussed earlier. Causal intrinsic factor is a factor responsible for absorption of vitamin B12, and this is how indirectly the cells, oxyntic or parietal cells, are also indirectly play a role in hemopoiesis, erythropoiesis. So folic acid and iron as well as B12 are responsible for maturation of RBC and erythropoiesis. RBC are with hemoglobin. We have discussed it is a tetramer conjugate protein. Respiratory pigment with the heme and iron as well as the globin protein. and it is an oxygen carrier. 4 oxygen molecule if carries by hemoglobin, saturation of hemoglobin is 100%. And we discussed that at an average each individual have the 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin for 100 ml of blood. And each hemoglobin, this calculation already we discussed, each hemoglobin carries, each hemoglobin molecule carries 1.34 ml of oxygen, each hemoglobin. And amount of the gram, amount of the hemoglobin for 100 ml, let's see 15 grams of hemoglobin into 1.34. So 100 ml of oxygenated blood will carry 20 ml, approximately 20 ml of oxygen, and this 20 ml of oxygen delivers 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues. That's what the blood is carrying, the gases. Okay, that's what the hemoglobin is, a respiratory pigment. In the same manner, 100 ml of the deoxygenated blood, deoxygenated blood will deliver 4 ml of CO2 to the tissues. 4 ml of CO2 is delivered to the tissues. This is the point to remember. Next, after this RBC detail, increasing in the number of erythrocythemia or polycythemia, particularly this happens in hypoxia condition. Already we discussed hypoxia, deficiency of oxygen in the tissues. What compensated by increasing in the number of RBCs. Particularly we have seen at altitude, at height places, the oxygen deficiency is compensated by increasing in the number of RBCs. It is one of an adaptation. And under hypoxia conditions, this is how we overcome the problem. Next, let's see the case of the WBCs. WBCs or the leukocytes, colorless cells, is now we'll discuss. Basically, the WBCs, white blood corpuscles, colorless. Why? There is no notation of the respiratory pigment. This is the reason why they are colorless leukocytes, WBCs. Generally, the WBCs number per every 1 cubic centimeter of the blood, they are varied from 6,000 to what is called 9,000, or it can be also 11,000. We see 6,000 to 11,000, a variation is seen. What about that RBC? Per every cubic centimeter, it is what we see 4.5 million to 5 millions. So what is the ratio? That is RBC to WBC. If we see, per every 1 WBC, there are 600 to 700 number of the RBCs. Per every 1 WBC, the ratio of WBCs to RBCs 1:6 to 700 in number. WBCs are of, they have a certain granules. WBCs categorized as the granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes, that is the one that have a granules, specific granules, and these granules stain color to either acidic, base, and neutral dyes. That's what they are named to be the granules. And the WBCs that are with the granules are granulocytes, that are without granules are agranulocytes. Granulocytes are acidophils or eosinophils also it can be considered. Basophils and the neutrophils whereas agranulocytes are lymphocytes and monocytes and these are the blood platelets. Let me show diagrammatically these ones. Acidophils, look at here the diagram. Neutrophils are considered to be with 3 to 5 lobed. Look at here the diagram where you can see the 3 to 5 lobes. Look at here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 3 to 5 lobed, whereas it is bilobed nucleus. Here irregular lobed nucleus. And this is the 3 to 5 lobed nucleus. So primarily the granulocytes and agranulocytes, if we observe in terms of the nucleus, you can expect questions. RBCs are enucleated, acidophils are bilobed, basophils are irregularly lobed nucleus. This is in terms of the nucleus, children. Understand? So this is how also you are expected questions. So bilobed nucleus, irregular lobed nucleus, 3 to 5 lobed. Lymphocytes and monocytes. Look at here. A monocyte will have a nucleus of, how does it look like? Bean shaped or kidney shaped. It is also said to be the reniform nucleus. Reniform. What do you mean by reni? Nothing but kidney. Kidney is of bean shaped. That's what we learn. It has the kidney or bean shaped or reniform. And this is with the spherical nucleus. So if I ask you a question in terms of the nucleus, the RBCs are enucleated, acidophils are bilobed nucleus, basophils are irregularly lobed nucleus, neutrophils are 3 to 5 pentalobed, and here spherical, one but non-lobed. Remind you, you cannot say it is a monolobed. Remind you, it is a spherical nucleus, and here reniform or bean shaped or kidney. The point to remember, lobed nucleus showing morphology here. Is it right? Bilobed, irregularly lobed, 3 to 5 lobed. Here in this connection, they are said to be the polymorphonucleolar cells. PMN, polymorphonucleolar neutrophils. In this connection, the different forms of the nucleus in which the neutrophils are with many forms. Is it right? That's what, as they are much more in percentage, large percentage. In fact, the neutrophils are 60 to 65%. Basophils are 0 to 1%. Acidophils are 2 to 3%. Lymphocytes, monocytes. Monocytes are, generally a terminology is there, Bamlan, RLs. A statement I'll say, keep in mind, never let monkey eat or ate banana. See the terminology what I am saying. Why this is in order to keep in mind the ascending and descending order. Never neutrophil 60 to 65%. Let we are discussing in a descending order, that is the lymphocytes 20 to 25%. Never let monkey monocytes about 6 to 88%. Got my point? Never let monkey eat if it is taken into consideration. Acidophils ate or else eat eosinophils. Banana, Bamlan, this is look at here 0.02 or else 0.3. That's what we say, 0.3 to 1%. Next 2 to 3%. Next monocytes 6 to 8%. And here 20 to 25%. 60 to 65%. So ascending order, descending order. Neutrophils 60 to 65%. Lymphocytes 20 to 25%. Monocytes 6 to 8%. Acidophils 2 to 3 and basophils 0 to, that is 0.3 to 1%. So never let monkey eat banana. This is the descending and this is the ascending order. Decreasing order, neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, acidophils or eosinophils and basophils. Let's come to the discussion of the basophils. Basophils are with bilobed nucleus. Basically these are what's said to be the acidophils, which are non-phagocytic. They are nothing to do with the phagocytosis, and they give stain color to the acid stains. That's what they are, acidophils. They give color to the acid stains, eosin. That's what acidophils. Basically they are increased during the time of allergies, helminthic infections, Oscaris and the tiniosis. They are the helminthic parasite. In tiniosis, allergy is what takes place, increasing in the number of acidophils. Eosinophilia, decreasing in the number, eosinopenia. When somebody is allergy, sneezing, snorting, where the acidophils number increase, it is a kind of exaggerated immune responses. That is, our immune cells, blood cells increase. Basophils are irregularly lobed. They are 0.3 to 1%, and these are considered to be the similar cells to that of the mast cells. Mast cells, they are the supporting cells or supporting cells of the mast cells. You know very well. Mast cells of connective tissue produce bradykinin, histamine and heparin. Here also they produce the heparin. So supporting cells of the mast cells. Neutrophils are considered to be the polymorphonucleolar, since they have the 3 to 5 lobed nucleus. These are phagocytic in nature. They are of the protecting the body, policemen. They protect our body. Neutrophils, they are phagocytic and are of largest percentage. Okay. Next, lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are considered to be the spherical, large size relative to their cell size. They are the spherical, 20 to 25%. Lymphocytes are what of the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. Remind you one thing, lymphocytes are of B and T lymphocytes. The one that are produced in the bone marrow are what name it to be the B lymphocytes. The one that are the lymphocytes that are produced in the bone marrow. In fact, we discussed that the bone marrow and the thymus are said to be the primary lymphoid organs. From primary lymphoid organ called from bone marrow, pre-B cells and pre-T cells are produced. The pre-T cells enter into the thymus and where they form, they mature. So it is the T lymphocytes. So lymphocytes are of spherical shape and are of what is called they are spherical in shape, and 20 to 25 percentage they are for immunity purpose. B lymphocyte produce antibodies, immunity. T lymphocytes are what for cell mediated immunity, they kill the pathogens. That's how the lymphocytes are what's it to be in function. Monocytes. Monocytes, if we see, monocytes are of 6 to 8 percentage. They are with the reniform nucleus. Monocytes, as long as present in the blood, they remain as it is. But when they come out of the blood and reach the connective tissues, where they become macrophages. Earlier we have discussed macrophages. Macrophages. These macrophages of bone are osteoclast, in joint synovial cells, in liver Kupffer cells, and in connective tissue wandering macrophages, movable tissue fixed histiocytes. They are all of the phagocytosis in nature, phagocytic. This is how we see the monocytes. In WBCs we discussed the granulocytes and agranulocytes. Generally WBCs are also named to be the what is called they are changing their shape and are of what like amoeba, so they are said to be exhibiting a amoeboid movement. That is they move along the blood vessels and they move out of the blood vessels also. The monocytes we have seen, they come out of the blood vessels and reach the connective tissues where they become the macrophages. So WBCs are exhibiting amoeboid movement, and this movement that they come out of the blood vessels and reach the tissues, which is named to be the diapedicis. Diapedicis is a phenomenon of movement of the blood cells out of the blood vessels and reach the tissues is named to be the diapedicis. As a part of the immunity, they perform such movement. Let's come to the discussion of the third one, and one more point. The production of the WBCs is leukopoiesis. Same thing, the hemopoietic organs are none other than the bone marrow in the adult stages. Next, basically the leukocytes increase in number. We have seen erythrocythemia and erythrocytopenia. Here, the increasing in the number of the WBCs, that is the leukocyte. Leukocythemia is a leukocythemia, and decreasing in the number leukocytopenia. Leukocythemia is increasing in the number, whereas leukocytopenia. There is one more condition, that the increasing in the number of WBCs in an uncontrolled manner, that is metastatic increasing in number. That is, it is said to be the leukemia. Leukemia is nothing but blood cancer. Leukemia is uncontrolled production of the WBCs. What we say is a leukemia, blood cancer, and it is the fatal itself. Basically, a cancer is nothing but the body fails to check the control over the cell cycles. So the cell cycle is not regulated, it is leading to uncontrolled production of the cells, that is leukemia in terms of the blood cancer. Next, the thrombocytes or the blood platelets. Basically the thrombocytes, production of the thrombocytes is thrombocythemia. Decreasing in number, thrombocytopenia. Generally, the thrombocytes are 1.5 to 2.5 lakhs in number per every cubic centimeter. And these are what produced when injury takes place to the fragmentation of megakaryocytes. Fragmentation of megakaryocytes results in the thrombocytes or blood platelets. And this is how they play a role. However, in presence of calcium ion, prothrombin, fibrinogen, the blood coagulation takes place. That is what the role of the blood platelets. An injury to the blood vessels as a tissue or else blood platelets, either to the tissues. Tissues are also associated by the blood vessels. So this is how the fragmentation of megakaryocytes, the thrombocytes are produced. Their number 1.5 lakh to 2.5 lakh in number. You know very well, that is, these number are decrease or increase in number. Decrease in number, this is a thrombocytopenia. Increase in number, thrombocythemia. Basically, these are also without nucleus, and they play a role in blood coagulation. Right. So this is all the detail regarding the blood. However, it is taught in first year, but many number of the points we have covered. Blood is a fluid connective tissue and is of both the liquid part and the solid part. The liquid part is plasma. Solid part is formed elements. Liquid part, which is with 92% of water, 8% is organic and inorganic substances. Solid part, formed parts are of the RBC, WBC and blood platelets. Generally, the serum albumin, 92% is water, which is very, very essential in order to maintain the liquidity osmolarity. That is done by means of the serum albumin. Serum albumins are what maintaining the osmolarity and the permeability of the capillaries. That is, they take the water from the tissues, thereby the sufficient of amount of the water is present. If the serum albumin, which are for retention of water, if reduced, that results in edema. Swelling, water is not taken from tissues, so its accumulation results in swelling. That's what the edema. Serum globulins or immunoglobulins, which are for immunity purpose. Next, apart from that, the gases, proteins, prothrombin, fibrinogen, are what are playing role in blood coagulation, which are in soluble form and inactive form, which are made into insoluble and active. As long as the blood in a healthy blood vessels, healthy individual blood do not clot because of an anticoagulant, name it to be the heparin. Next, the blood cells under that RBC, WBC thrombocytes. RBCs are erythrocytes. Erythro, red in color, because of the respiratory pigment. The RBCs are enucleated and are biconcave. The enucleate and biconcave nature increase the surface area of absorption. Besides that, the cell organelles are absent. Other cell organelles beside the nucleus. Presence of the cell organelles which decrease the surface area for oxygen. So, what type of respiration takes place here? Anaerobic itself. Remind you, under the biconcave nature, which is what is with by two concavities. Look at here, it is with the two concavities here. thereby the surface area increases. Whereas that with the llamas and the camel, it is the oval shape, which is an adaptation for them. Next, the arrangement of the RBCs is named to be the Rolex. RBCs are 4.5 to 5 million in number, and when compared with the female to male, we discussed males are with more amount of the blood and more number of the RBCs blood cells. The due region is females at a regular interval till up to menopause, till up to 45 to 50 years of age. At a regular interval they undergo the menstrual cycle, through which some amount of loss of the blood takes place as a menstrual flow. Next, the RBCs with the hemoglobin as a respiratory pigment, which is 12 to 16 grams per every 100 ml. 100 ml of the blood carries the 20 ml of oxygen and it delivers 5 ml of oxygen to the tissues. 100 ml of deoxygenated blood will deliver 4 ml of carbon dioxide. And how it influences, we have seen the respiratory movement. And the RBC's lifespan is of 120 days. If decreasing in the number of RBC, erythrocythemia, decreasing in the number erythrocytopenia, increasing in the number erythrocythemia, polycythemia. A condition we have seen when somebody reached the high places, the increasing in the number of RBCs takes place. And WBCs, granulocytes, agranulocytes, granule containing granulocytes, without granules, agranulocytes. Granulocytes are with the granule and that stain to acid base and give color. So acidophils, basophils, neutrophils. Agranulocytes, without granules, lymphocytes and monocytes. The case with the percentage wise, highest number is by neutrophils, least is by the basophils. Bilobed, irregularly lobed, 3 to 5 lobed in terms of granulocytes. As neutrophils are with 3 to 5 lobed, they have a different forms. That's what polymorphonucleolar leukocytes. The case with the lymphocytes and monocytes, lymphocytes are spherical, monocytes are reniform. Monocytes are with the 68%, lymphocytes are 20 to 25%. That's what the never let monkeys eat banana, descending order in terms of the percentage. Thrombocytes are blood platelets. They are produced as a part of a fragmentation of megakaryocytes. Increasing in the number of the WBCs, leukocythemia, decreasing in the number leukopenia, but as a part of uncontrolled production of the blood cells, it is leukemia. This is the composition of the blood, and we'll discuss as a part of that body fluids lymph also. Thank you.